Hi, friends. Welcome to the Nomadic Spaces podcast. I am your host, Sarah Bronstein from Suka Interior Design. This is where we talk all things interior design, nomadic spaces, and happy homes. You'll learn interior design strategies to successfully transform your home into a beautiful and functional space that supports your unique lifestyle. If you are enjoying this show, please help us by taking a sec to subscribe, rate, share, or leave a review. Thank you for your support and for listening. Now, let's get into today's show. Hello, friends. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different. And we're going to be talking about what working together could look like. I think there's a misconception that hiring an interior designer is out of reach. And there's a lot of folks I talk to who just kind of work under the assumption it's not accessible to them. It's some kind of luxury. And I love kind of being a myth buster about this. I have structured my business pretty differently than the traditional interior design model with markups and whatnot. And I do this because I really want interior design to be accessible. It's tremendously powerful, and I don't believe that it should only be available for people who can afford to pay a certain amount. And I intentionally set up my business model to be aligned with my values and goals, which happen to look pretty different than the traditional kind of historical interior design business model that a lot of interior designers still operate in, and no hate to them. A lot of them make it work. It's just not what's right for me. And I do feel like I attract the right clients because their values and goals are also aligned. So first, what's different about Suka Interior Design? Like I said earlier, I don't do markups. I believe in full transparency. I'm a free agent to source inventory that is available. I am not tied to certain vendors. So I have no benefit to push expensive pieces. Or in this day and age with the global supply chain, if I can find something that can arrive sooner, that works with my timeline and won't hold up the project, I'm probably going to go with that. So I do flat rate design fees that are value based on the outcome instead of just hour to hour. And full disclosure, that actually works in the client's benefit because I am going to deliver that outcome no matter how long it takes. And in most cases, the hourly is actually below my flat hourly rate when I do a full service or design plan, which we'll get into in a little bit. So again, no surprises, total transparency. Even if we have to redo your bathroom 5 times because they keep finding issues, reasons that our original plans wouldn't work, you're not going to be charged for a revision. You don't have to worry about paying me for more hours to resolve it. On that note, I actually work within really generous time constraints as opposed to having revision counts. A lot of designers and places I've worked before as a designer will let you make changes only so many times, and then, that's kind of what you're going to get. I don't believe in that. I want to do it over and over again until you're happy with everything if you're my client. So I offer unlimited revisions, again, within a time frame that is extremely generous usually around double the expected length of the project. What else is different? In addition to delivering a beautiful outcome, I am not a designer that's going to push a design style on you. I'm actually not a huge fan of design styles. And I think I'm going to do an episode coming up about why. But my fulfillment, and one of the things I do in my business that I don't think all designers do, is be there. Part of this is to guide you on a journey of figuring out your unique style. So it's just an incredibly personalized experience. Even working virtually, it's going to be customized to you, your aesthetic, your needs, your space. No cookie cutter design here. Some of the problems I solve, most of my clients' projects have fallen into these categories. I can help with project vision and kind of organizing actionable steps to achieve the outcome, the desired outcome. When folks need kind of a consultant, I like to call it a designer in your pocket, for consulting, sourcing, advisement, where and when you need it. I'm there. I create thorough design plans based around our unique design strategy that we, work over into the design plans. And that includes 2D floor plans, 3D visualizations, 3D renders, sketches, shop lists, product boards. I help with project management. We're going to get to the different levels of service, but for full service, I offer project management, which means working with contractors, tradesfolk, architects. Depending on your project, those might be folks involved. I also take care of the purchasing and receiving of furniture and decor. I organize a team for installation, which is when we actually get everything to the property if it's not already being delivered there. Sometimes we use a receiver. And then I, with a team, get everything installed and staged. In my areas of expertise, I've actually worked in commercial design for kind of corporate workspaces, residential, and my areas of expertise are high-touch client service. It's the top of the list. It's the most important thing to me. The client is happy, has a good experience. Residential interior design. I've been in residential interior design for eight years now. Small spaces and tiny houses, which if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably already aware of. And I'm also an expert in interior design for Airbnbs and, vacation rental properties. I worked for a company as an interior designer, working with mainly investors, designing their vacation rental properties with ROI-driven design strategy. I did that for about 5 years. I am also LEED certified, so sustainable solutions, sustainable design. These are all sort of the main areas of the interior design industry I personally am experienced in. Who do I work with? My clients are people who are open to guidance and advice. Many of them have strong opinions and already may know what they want, but they are still open to guidance and advice. I work with people who believe in the power of space. They understand how impactful interior design is. My clients are people who are willing to invest in an expert. They hired me and I'm an expert. And there's a lot of interior designers out there, especially the virtual realm, who don't really have experience. I'd say this is largely true for most fields, but certainly when it comes to interior designers, you really, you get what you pay for. My clients are people who are budget conscious, but willing to invest in quality. I work with people who are looking to turn what is typically a pretty overwhelming and stressful situation into a fun and flowing project, which is my job. I quickly just want to run through what a design project process looks like. And there is a really great visual on my website, and I'm also going to put it in the show notes that kind of breaks down all the services that we're going to talk about along this timeline of project process. So you can kind of see what service covers what steps of this process. And just to run through it real quick. Step 1, I call the project plan. This is what the Design Project Jumpstart is. And this is where we collect project fundamentals. We go through the space, talk about your ideas, your problems, your goals. We establish a timeline, if there is one. We talk about budget. We talk about design goals. Clarify desired outcomes. Compile general ideas, suggestions, and recommendations. Step 2 is conceptual design. And this is when we establish our design direction. We do this with mood boards. We look at materials, finishes, color palettes. And that preps us to move into step 3 once we have our direction, is when we actually start the design plan. Design plans include floor plans, elevations if necessary, 3D renders. And a 3D render is basically a realistic image of what your space would look like. It's a 3D model that I build out and customize to your space. So it really, really helps to visualize the things that we're talking about doing and make decisions that you'll be happy with in the end. I can't even begin to stress how important 3D renders are. If you're hiring an interior designer, it's probably because in some capacity you could use help visualizing, and this really, really helpful tool. Once we're happy with that is product procurement. I'm going to find all the pieces by room. I'm going to make furniture boards so you can see how those pieces look together. Step 4 is then project management. We're going to put in those orders. get everything purchased. Order tracking. Depending on the size of the project, it might be a few months before everything arrives. And over that time, they'll work on receiving. Work on delivery coordination. Once all of those items are arrived, when is that expected? And once everything's there, how are we getting it to the house? Or unless everything's already being delivered there. There might be coordination with contractors to make sure if you're doing renovation that everything's done in time before you have furniture moved in. And step 5 is the actual installation, which again is, coordinating to make sure the house is ready, then coordinating the timing with the delivery or installation team. Assemble and install all of the new furniture and decor. And if you're working in a full service project, which we're about to get into, it will also include staging, professional photography, and the big reveal. So you get your, in full service, you'll get your HGTV moment. So sorry about that. Not sure what happened there, but apparently I got a little cut off. So just to break down some of the services, the first kind of beginning of all projects is the Design Project Jumpstart. This is great as a solo service, which would be right for those folks who are looking for guidance, vision, recommendations, expertise. Maybe you're looking to install updates over time. Maybe you have a smaller budget and bringing a designer on in a larger capacity just isn't an option. This is a really great way to get professional advice. Basically a professional plan so that the things you end up doing to your space get you the results that you're looking for. And for folks who are looking at maybe working together in a larger capacity in design plans or full service projects, this is a really great opportunity for us to get to know each other, for you to hear my ideas, for you to get to know my personality a little bit, and just make sure that I'm someone you feel you can trust to bring your vision to life. It's really important when you hire a designer. And I do my best. If I feel like a client doesn't have that for me, I do my best to kind of say that's an important piece. And if that that trust isn't there, that's okay. It just means maybe I'm not the right designer for you. What is the Design Project Jumpstart? It is at first going to be a 75-minute virtual consultation. So we're going to get on FaceTime or Zoom. Maybe we'll have a glass of wine or a coffee, depending on the time of day. And I hate how the word consultation sounds because these are actually super fun. But we're basically going to tour your space together. I'm going to listen to kind of your ideas, if you have pain points or concerns. I want to hear what your desired outcome is. I'm going to make recommendations, give you ideas to get that desired outcome. I'm going to collect all the project fundamentals that we talked about, that we need for step 1, which is timeline, budget, design goals. I'm going to take notes. And after our call, it's usually within a couple days, I'm going to send you a design proposal document. It's going to have concept boards for each space. It's going to have all of my notes and recommendations. It's basically going to be a how to get the results you want guide. And at the end, if next steps are appropriate, I can make a recommendation based on our call for what working together in a further capacity would look like. And if you do decide to work together, we already have all of this organized. We already completed step 1, so we can really just jump right into the conversations from those visual boards included in the document. We can start our conversations about design direction, so we can get right into step 2. Now, I'm going to share for each service a testimonial from a client project that fell into this service. So this client actually found me on a travel trailer renovation group on Facebook, and she originally booked the Design Project Jumpstart for her RV. And about a week before our call, asked if we could change it to her house because she realized she wouldn't want something that she spends a few weeks a year in to be nicer than the house that she lives in full time, which makes total sense. So we actually worked on her house. We went way over time, if I recall. I think we were like on the call for about 2 hours, which I'll say I'm notorious for. So if you have a hard out when we schedule our call, just give me a heads up because I can go kind of crazy. And we did the Design Project Jumpstart. We still check in with each other, mainly through our Pinterest board, which is part of the Design Project Jumpstart notes that I send after. Include a Pinterest board with relevant everything. And she was working on a smaller budget, so there wasn't really a lot we could do past giving her this great jumpstart plan to reference as she makes updates. And this is what she had to say. Sarah is absolutely wonderful. Her ideas and design techniques are exceptional. She immediately keyed into my needs and wants for my home improvement project. She was genuine, caring, down to earth, and very personable. I highly recommend her service. So next, talking about step 2 and 3, conceptual design is step 2. Step 3 is design plans. These are typically done as a virtual service. However, if you're doing full service, there will be an on-site visit. Usually between step 2 and 3 is when I try to schedule that. The length of time will depend on the project. And again, that is for full service, which we'll talk about next. But just want to note, otherwise, design plans are done virtually, which means you'll need to supply measurements or a floor plan. And there's lots of ways to do that aren't too scary, so don't worry. We'll talk about that if need be. There are even apps that scan your home and create floor plans. So there's lots of easy ways to get that. So don't freak if you don't have a floor plan. We'll make it work. And design plans are right for those who want to go through the entire design process with a professional. Again, we do that through 2D floor plans, 3D visualizations. Then I will do all of the sourcing for all of the products needed, create shop lists. And once approved, I will send that over to you, the shop list, as well as installation guides. And you get to place the orders and take care of step 4 and 5 on your own. And this is a really great way to keep the budget down. It's usually at least half of what full service would cost. Because full service with project management pretty much doubles the amount of hours at least. So design plans, again, you're getting designer selections. You're getting a fully professionally designed space. You're just going to put the furniture together. And with the 3D renders and installation documents, it's, of course it's work, but it's pretty easy to know where things are supposed to go and be hung, placed, etc. So a testimonial from a client that worked with me on design plans. It was our pleasure to work with Sarah from Suka Interior Design. She helped us figure out decor for multiple rooms in our house. She was very responsive to our needs and really took our feedback on the initial design proposal into account when sending the final proposal. I also appreciated her years of expertise and candor when advising us on what may or may not fit best for our space. I would definitely work with Sarah again and highly recommend her. I loved working with this client. This is a side note, but she had a toddler at the time we met, and it's just one of the cutest kids I've ever seen. I think of her every time I think of this project. Anyway, we worked together on a design plan for the main floor of her home. It was dining room, living room, and kitchen. Kitchen and living room are kind of an open space. And they had a few pieces of furniture that they wanted to keep that we worked into the design. And then added supplemental furniture, light fixtures, artwork, and other decorative objects. And again, I sent the final approved design plans, and her husband ordered everything and got everything set up. And it was really a joy helping this family bring their home to life. Full service interior design. So this covers everything. This is for those who want minimal responsibility, can be as involved as you want. But this is for someone who's really looking for an interior designer and a project manager. Another term for full service interior design, sometimes referred to as turnkey interior design. I think, as I said earlier, this service is for folks who are looking for that turnkey service with a big HGTV reveal. So step 4 and 5 of the design process are the project management and installation. I take care of everything on that list. And through steps 1 and 3, depending on your project, I might be helping find and get estimates from contractors. Some clients have their own, which is great. I can work with them, but I'm going to be coordinating with everybody throughout the entire project, in addition to taking the project through steps 4 and 5. One thing to note is I only take a few full service projects a year because I typically don't like to have more than 1 or 2 going at a time. I like to stagger it. So 5 to 6 is usually what I take in terms of full service projects a year. So if you're someone who's been considering that, definitely reach out. because we might need to get that on the schedule in advance. It varies, but usually at least a month or two at minimum before I can really start on full service. If that happens where I'm too booked out, I will do my best to find a great recommendation to help in my absence, or see if there's a way things could maybe be staggered or synced up to where I can make the timeline work. And a testimonial from someone who worked on a full service renovation and furnishing project with me. I'll read it now. It says, we partnered with Sarah Bronstein to redesign our home on the Oregon coast. We found her to be warm, personable, and responsive. She asked probing questions and listened carefully to gauge our aesthetic and desire for the refurbishing of the home, then sent numerous suggestions by way of design boards. We were very pleased with her suggestions and adopted most of them with few alterations. Her enthusiasm for design and her commitment to make our home a unique and beautiful space assured us we were dealing with a real creative pro. We would recommend Sarah to anyone looking for assistance in the design of their living space. Oh my God, I love my clients. I really fell in love with this couple. They were so fun to work with. Had a really unique vision for the space. You know, it's really important. I really love all my clients, but it's so important with full service projects to have that trust and relationship. Full service projects are usually at least 4 to 6 months at a minimum. I have many that go on close to usually around, most of them are around a year. So it's part of why I start everyone with the Design Project Jumpstart, is so we both make sure we want to spend the next year talking to each other a lot. This couple had bought, oh God, the house was so good. It's so beautiful. It's this amazing 70s house. Everything was pretty original. But the design, the bones were just so beautiful. It's on the Oregon coast. They bought it mainly to have a special place to congregate with their kids and grandkids. But they also, I think, were going to use it as a vacation rental in the off time. But they really did design it. You know, it wasn't an income property. They designed it for them, for their family. And the house just had so much character. A sunken living room. Has a huge panoramic deck. It has ocean views, like from the main space of the house. Just really beautiful. We did a pretty major renovation. New flooring. We updated the kitchen and bathrooms. We picked out new light fixtures. New paint. Just really the whole nine. And then we furnished it from scratch. Used a few antique pieces. Some stuff online, and we ended up using a receiver. It was out on the Oregon coast, which can be hard to get to, and got everything set up, and it just came out so fantastic, and I dream of this house. So, so cool. So there is one other way that I work with clients that isn't on the website, because I only offer it if it's really the right fit for what the client's looking for, which isn't often the case, but it happens. And that is called an hourly package. So it's basically straight up hours. And I usually do them in bundles of 10. And it's great for people, again, with the right needs to just kind of knock out hours as needed. It's typically how folks that end up with an hourly package work. They might need a couple of hours of advice here, maybe a couple hours of product sourcing here, maybe a consultation or sit in with a meeting with the contractor here. And I'm going to read a testimonial from a client. I've actually never set foot in her space. We've only done virtual work together through our hourly package. She was actually initially resistant to the idea of working with a designer virtually, which I totally understand. But she really liked me and decided that she was going to try it out and do a Design Project Jumpstart and just see how it felt before moving forward. And she was so happy with the value and experience of that call that we've been working together ever since. And I think it's been just over a year now. So she said, Sarah's vision is incredible. She helped us design our whole house through video calls. We love her laid back vibe and excellent sense of who we are and such cool ideas. I know I say this every time, but I love this client. She's such a dream. Basically, we kind of have our own rhythm down. I should say when I first met her, they had her and her husband had just bought a stunning new house in Portland, like a new build in Portland, Oregon, and they had some random pieces of furniture and decor, as so many people who have moved understand. And it just felt really discombobulated, and they were trying to figure out what to put where, what if they should even keep certain things, what new things they should bring in. And yeah, that was they mainly needed help sourcing for product holes, I call it. Maybe they had a sofa and a chair, but where's the rug, artwork, lamps, coffee table, side tables, that kind of thing. So our rhythm is super fun. Basically, I hear from her every month or two. She has a new list of things that they want to tackle. They're doing it in phases. They don't want to dish out a ton of money all at once. They want to kind of go through things as needed. And we do a video call. We walk through the space. And a lot of times it's simple things like, hey, put me down for a sec. Why don't we try moving that lamp to this corner? And she'll put me down and she'll do it. And she's like, oh my God, I love it. And it totally balances the space or accomplishes what we were looking for. A couple times it's like, hey, remember that throw pillow from the den? What if we put that here in the bedroom, or things like that? And additionally, I'll take notes of what products we don't have in the house already and can't steal from another room. And at the end, I read her the source list. She'll add anything if I missed it. And then I take usually about a week, depends on my schedule, but a week or two, I'll put together, and also the size of the list, but I'll put together a spreadsheet for the entire list, and I'll put at least 3 options. Sometimes I put like 10 if I find a lot of good stuff, but I'll give you options with links for each of the items. And again, this is hourly, so use it as you want. For them, this is kind of how we do it. They'll tell me which ones they order, and then next time I usually get to see what pieces they chose, see how it's coming together, and we get started on the next phase. Super fun. I really love seeing this come together, and I love that this has become such a long relationship. It's, much more normal in the full service projects to work together for over a year. But this hourly package client is going for a record, and I love it so much. Man, I feel like I just talked about how much I love my clients the whole time. but I hope, at least in parts, you were able to understand my services and what I do, learn a bit more about me and my company, and what working with me could look like. Because there's a few different ways, as we talked about, that can happen. So for those of you who have been straddling the fence or in that mindset that an interior designer is a luxury that you could never afford, I ask you to commit to taking an action. That doesn't mean working with me or another designer necessarily. Maybe it's downloading the desk refresh and just starting there. Start with one space. Take action. Take one action. Could be scheduling a connection call just to talk. Just take one action. I appreciate you listening so much, and I look forward to connecting with you next week. Ta-ta. Thank you so much for listening. If you have a sec to subscribe, rate, share, or leave a review, that would mean the world.